What is up, my lovely friends? Welcome back to day 2 of our Goal Getter Groove Challenge for November. I am so excited to talk about today's topic because here's the thing. I am a visionary. I am the person who can see far into the future and map out the entire game plan and how we're going to get there. I am a visionary thinker. That's where I operate the best. Day-to-day tiny actions, harder for me. Can do it, but harder. So today we're going to be talking about your big vision, how you can become the visionary of your life and everything you want to achieve. Now, I know this challenge is supposed to be about, the next month, and that is true. We're going to really get granular over the next several days, but it is really powerful for you to think more long-term about the vision you have for your life so that then we can reverse engineer that into more tangible goals, action plans, key drivers that are going to help you achieve the things that you want to achieve in your life and have and do and all the amazing things. But it starts with a vision. Now, I like to break this down, and I'm referencing my notes because who can memorize this stuff? But I wanted to talk about a few examples of times in my life when, looking back now, I'm like, wow, I was setting a vision for what I wanted to achieve. I remember growing up, I would put on these elaborate performances, often for just myself in the mirror in my bedroom. I had this old dresser that has a mirror on it that my grandpa restored for me. And I used to act out and dance it all. I would reenact scenes from Dirty Dancing and various musicals. I remember Aladdin was a favorite. I would sing A Whole New World and pretend, with my stuffed animals that I was, on the carpet flying around. Anyway, I digress. Yes, I would act out and just saw myself as this performer. And I know I don't talk a lot about this, but I was a performer growing up. As I got older, I would enter these singing competitions in elementary school and junior high. And then as I got into high school, I was all about the music world. I was so cool, by the way. But I was a music geek, right? I was in choir, I was in show choir, I was in all the musicals and the plays and all the things that were offered at my school at the time. And I got a few sort of side roles, supporting roles in various musicals. And then my senior year of high school, I was cast in the lead role of Dolly in Hello, Dolly. And I rocked it. Me and Brad Thompson, we killed it. But what I'm saying is that I set out a vision for myself at a very young age. And I didn't think I'm going to get that role and I'm going to be the lead. But I remember as a small kid in elementary school, when the high school kids would come perform, I'd be like, I'm going to be one of those people. And right, my plan of action and all the things I thought would happen, I thought I'd be the lead in everything starting freshman year. I was not, but it happened for me gradually. And I know that seems like a small thing, but I knew I wanted to be a performer, and so I made it happen. Later in high school, I had my first taste of travel, and I've talked a lot about this story in various places on the podcast, but it was very serendipitous that I got to go. And once I had that taste, I knew I had to do it. I knew that had to be a part of my life forever. And so my next plan was okay, I got to figure out how to go to college. And if I go to college, I got to figure out how to make it all about traveling and studying abroad. And so I remember my senior year, sitting down with my mom, and I had this piece of paper, and I had drawn out all the semesters for all 4 years of college. And I had said, okay, this semester I'm going to be, at the university, then I'm going to study abroad, and then I'm going to do this program. And I'd geeked out on all of their study abroad programs. And by the end of it, I'd probably studied abroad 9 times or something. But I just was so passionate about this has got to be my life. I think I was going to go to college at the American University of Paris, and then I was going to participate in all their study abroad programs. And so I was going to go all over the world. And none of those things happened in the way I imagined it on that piece of paper. But because I saw that as the vision of my life, I knew that travel had to be a big part of it, that's what happened. I ended up going to university here in the United States, but then I studied abroad 3 different semesters. And then as a result of that, discovered my true passion career path in international education and meaningful travel. And that's where I've built my whole career. And I can remember sitting at the bar in the kitchen going over that plan of where I was going to go, what semesters with my mom. I can remember it so viscerally even now. And I know that played a huge role in my ability to make a different version of that happen, but I knew that was the vision, and I have so many other, examples of this in grad school. I had made the decision that I was going to be director of a study abroad office at a Division I university, and it happened. It didn't happen exactly the way I imagined, but it happened just 2 or 3 years later. Same thing in my 30s. I knew I wanted to start my own company and I wanted to do this tech startup and get, investor funding, which I technically did, but figured out along the way that wow, this is not necessarily the right business model for me. It's a whole other story. But the idea here is that I had a vision and I did set goals and I set action plans and had key drivers around helping me fulfill that vision, but it started with the vision. So that's what I want you guys to do today. So we're going to focus on the vision that you have for your life, let's say 3 or 5 years from now. We could do the whole crazy 10 years, 20 years from now for sure, but I think that can get a little elusive. So let's just focus on the next 3 to 5 years. And this is general. And I want you to think about, who are you spending time with? How are you spending your time? What are you doing with your time? Where do you live? What's the environment, physically, geographically around the world? Or what kind of home do you have? And who's in that home with you? Also think about your finances. How are you earning money? How is your career going? Where do you see yourself, in terms of the current company you work for, or the industry that you're in, or the business that you maybe hope to launch, or that you're already hustling on. What does that look like in 3 to 5 years? Also think about, more of the personal side of what's your relationship with your family, as I like to call it. So your friends, your family, they're all, to me, very intertwined. What's your relationship look like to them? What about adventure? How are you finding and integrating adventure into your life, whether that's through big, global travel adventures or cool, fun days at the apple orchard, or, on the weekends, whatever adventure looks like for you. How do you spend your time in terms of finding and cultivating some adventure in your life? Because I'm a big proponent of that. And then what about your fitness, your health? How are you maintaining that? How are you getting it? If you need to, get back to a healthy and fit state. And then also imagine, what just a full, amazing life looks like for you. And I want you to get really visceral about it. And you might have heard the 5 F's before, where we talk about faith, family, as I like to call it, finances, fitness, and fulfillment. Those are core 5 areas of life. So if you wanted to think about that, it's a great way to get started when you're thinking about what do those areas of my life look like. You can also get very specific. I know I had a friend who was like, I want to buy a house in Colorado by this time in my life. And they didn't know the exact house, although they had a vision for it. And they didn't know exactly where specifically it would be in Colorado, but they knew it was going to be in Colorado. And then in this year, they've done it. They bought the house in Colorado, which is amazing. And that's been a vision and something that they've been working towards, but also just they knew that's the life they envisioned for themselves. So there's also a great meditation I like to lead people through in some of my workshops that's all about future casting. And the idea is that you just take a few breaths, shut your eyes, take some nice deep breaths, and imagine waking up 3 years from today, whatever today is, 3 years from today. And you open your eyes, and what do you see? What does the room look like? Who's in the room with you, if there is anyone? Where are you geographically in the world? Who's in the house? What's your plan for the day as you get up out of the bed and move around? What do you see? And what's your plan? How are you going to spend that day? And that's another great way to get to kind of a visceral, tangible level of future casting for your life. So what I want you to do, your assignment for today, is I want you to create a visual representation of your vision for your life. And I want you to use this as a daily reminder of what you're truly working towards, because even though it's a sort of a general bigger picture vision, it can still be really powerful even when we get down to the granular level of setting your goals and your action plans, etc. So I want you to get creative. If you are not a super crafty person like me, you can use like magazines or something, but I just like to go to Pinterest or Instagram. I search hashtags and common terms around my vision, and I'll find just some really amazing photos that represent not only the things I want to achieve, but the feeling and the mojo I want to have in my life moving forward. I want you to save them all to a folder somehow. And then I want you to go on a free tool like Canva, Canva.com. And I want you to create a graphic, and you could create it so it's like the backdrop of the desktop of your computer, or you could make it so it's the desktop and backdrop of your phone if you need to. I always do it on my phone. And I want you to sort of just plug in those photos as your sort of digital vision board, if you will, and save that to your phone. And then I want you to save it as your computer desktop or your phone home screen or lock screen or whatever. And I want you to keep it there front and center for a while, so that every time you get on your computer, every time you open your phone, you were reminded every single day, this is the vision I have for my life. This is what I want to see for my life. And it could be sooner than 3 years. It could take a little bit longer than 3 years. That's okay. We're not going to worry about how you're going to achieve these things just yet. That's going to come in the next few days. But right now, I just want you to get a grasp of what does life look and feel like for me in my ultimate dream life in 3 to 5 years. That is your assignment for today. Good luck. I cannot wait to see what you create. If you do decide to create something and you want to share it, and that's a thing we'll talk about later in the month, tag me, The New Dorothy, over on Instagram. Tag me in your stories, and I'd love for you to show me your vision for your life, and let's make it happen. Remember that every day you postpone a dream, you weaken it a little, so get out there and make some magic happen. Cheers.